Welcome to the Idea Box Show, episode number 38 for Wednesday, July 15th, 2015. I'm your host, Mary Morgan Ryan. I'm a pre-K to 5 school librarian in the western suburbs of Chicago. And today I'm here with a rock star school librarian. Welcome to the show, Christina. Why don't you introduce yourself just briefly?
Sure. My name is Christina Cucci. I am in northern New Jersey, and I'm a school library media specialist.
Wonderful. And Christina and I are glad that you're here with us today on the Idea Box Show. The show is a series of casual conversations with school librarians of all kinds. We share ideas and expand our personal learning networks. We explore the work that school librarians do every day, from teaching to technology and collection development to collaboration. So we are going to jump right into Christina's idea that she's sharing with us today. What are we going to talk about today, Christina?
So one thing that I wanted to talk about today was trying to make a greater impact in the work that I do. And outside of the daily practice with my students every day, I keep asking myself, how can I affect more change on a larger scale? And I think that that answer lies with advocating in our profession and advocating for the future of our profession. So my idea today is to encourage everyone to get more involved with their state and our national organization in order to stay current.
I think I'm really looking forward to this conversation because I think for a lot of us, finding a way into those organizations may be a little intimidating. So I'm anxious to hear how you've done it.
Sure. So I guess I should give a little bit of background. Do I have some echo? Okay. So just to provide a little background, I actually had the opportunity to serve as one of the ALA Emerging Leaders for 2015. And this experience has really helped me to see the big picture and to understand the ALA organization and to better understand my local organization here in New Jersey. I also serve here in New Jersey as one of the executive board members of NJSL. That's the New Jersey Association of School Librarians. I am currently the member at large. And in the local area where I work, in the local county, I am one of the co-presidents of our local affiliate group of the New Jersey Association of School Librarians.
Oh.
And in fact, one of your prior guest, Lisa, is in our Bergen County group where I teach.
Absolutely. So tell me about those local affiliates, because we don't have those in my state.
Oh, okay. The local affiliates have really helped me to get more involved and to understand the profession better because New Jersey is not necessarily the largest state, but there are lots of people. And from where I teach in the northern part to the southern part, it can be up to 2.5 to 3 hours away. So we have lots of different counties. That's the way we're divided. And most of our counties have local affiliates, which are like arms of our state organization. And they meet on a regular basis. Our group meets quarterly during the school year. And it's just a really nice way to come together and to meet other professionals that are in your area and to continue that professional development.
And then does your local affiliate have some connection, like a representative or a liaison or anything to the state?
Yes. We, as the president, we are kind of that liaison, but there's also a person who serves on our state board, and they are called the county liaison, and they're the ones that kind of keep a check on what's happening in all of the counties in New Jersey. And we have this great event at our state conference, which is in November, where all of the county groups come together for a social mixer. And it's called a meet and greet, and everybody gets together and kind of socializes and has some beverages and just has a nice time together.
Those are great connections to make, yeah. Well, that's really interesting because our state organization is not structured that way. So I've already learned something.
Oh, good. Well, one reason that I think it's so important for librarians to be participating in their state and national organizations is because our jobs can be very isolating. I don't know about your situation, but in my building, I'm the only certified person and I work with over 400 students. I do have a colleague who's at our middle school, and our proximity is quite close to one another, and we do a lot of chatting and communicating. But other than that, I'm really kind of on my own. And because of that, you can kind of lose touch with things very easily. So I feel like I've gotten that connection back through my state organization and my county group. And from that, it's really helped me to connect to ALA as a whole.
I totally agree that it can be isolating. I think you couldn't find a school librarian who would say anything otherwise, because we do tend to be, you know, one of one or two in our buildings, and finding somebody to talk shop with may not be easy.
Right. The other thing that the organizations do is they really help you with your professional development. They keep you up to date with your current research, the newest practices. Some of the organizations have ties into local universities where a lot of the new research is being generated. So it's nice to have a close connection to them. Aside from just the social aspect, there's also many benefits professionally. And I do have a couple of websites here that I wanted to just show with everyone, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm just going to turn on screen sharing for just a second. This is a link to NJSL, which is our New Jersey Association of School Librarians. And what I love about our website is that you can easily join through membership. You can find out about the different events that are happening, such as our upcoming fall conference, and we will be having a spring conference. There's also something that I've benefited from, which are the awards and scholarships. Many state organizations give away grant monies, and this is really to help promote people in the local region to do more in the profession. And it's really helped me. I've earned a couple of scholarships through NJSL. And as I mentioned, there's professional development. There's even job postings. So I love visiting this website. The next websites I just wanted to show really quick, I found through the connection with ALA. One of the divisions of ALA is AASL, which is the American Association of School Librarians. And this is kind of my second home, where I find so many great resources. And one of their most popular resources is the best apps for teaching and learning and the best websites for teaching and learning.
What time of year do those come out? Is that in the summertime?
They were just announced at ALA in June. So I believe every June is their cycle.
Okay.
So this is all current. It's just been updated, and they're actually changing over their chairperson and some of the people on the committee. So every year they'll be updating this. But you can there's an archive here, and you can go back and find all of the best apps from the last few years and the best websites. So this is one of the most visited websites on AASL.
So I have a question for you about, and stop me if I'm going ahead, but if I'm a member of ALA, then I need to choose, for lack of a better word, what is it, divisions?
Divisions, exactly.
To join. And so personally, I've been a member of AASL and what's the other ones? Library Services for Children.
Yes.
Help me out with that.
I have it here. It's called AC.
It's got a Y, right? Youth or
ALSC, the one Association for Library Services to Children.
That's right. So I have been a member of both of those, but I found just personally that I benefited more from AASL. I think it's just more targeted to what I do. Is there anything else that I'm missing that you would say, you know, oh, can't miss this membership when I'm renewing my ALA membership?
I think you hit it right on the head, Mary. That's kind of where I find myself fitting in best. I printed this up from the ALA website. It's very comprehensive, all of the divisions, and what they say about ALA is it's kind of this beast, this monster that's just so comprehensive because there are so many parts of it. But once you kind of join ALA, there are these different divisions, and you can kind of find where you fit in the best. The membership varies. There's different fee structures. So depending on, I know for myself, I pay one fee to join ALA, and then it's an additional, I think, $50 for AASL.
Right.
And that,
well worth it.
absolutely. Since we're talking about cost, some state organizations have their own costs associated with membership. So I know we have that in New Jersey. Even in our local affiliate group, we have a small cost, and that just allows us to run meetings, to have refreshments, and sometimes we try to bring in speakers and do something for the benefit of our membership. But for me, those costs have always been, like, as you said, well worth it. And as I mentioned before, some of these organizations do provide scholarship money, and that can possibly cover the cost.
My school district does supply a certain amount of professional development money that's mine at my discretion. I'm sure it's different in different places, but that can help offset those costs too.
Yes, and we have that arrangement as well. The other thing I was going to talk about is when you join these organizations, there's job postings, there's all this professional development, and it also keeps you up to date with the legislation. So there's been a recent victory that I've only learned about because of my connection with the AASL, and I've gotten lots of updates about it online. But there's been a U.S. Senate victory called the Reed-Cochran Amendment. And what happens with that amendment is it's allowed it's made explicitly clear that school library programs, effective school library programs, need to be part of the Elementary and Secondary Education Act. And although this is not something that's become a law right now, it's moving in that direction, and it was an overwhelming victory.
It was 98-0.
Exactly. So we're really happy about that. And I think that as professionals, part of our responsibility is being aware of that legislation and keeping mind of what's happening in the direction and the trends that are happening in our field, so that way we can really be well informed.
I couldn't agree with you more. I have talked on the show previously about the Elementary and Secondary Education Act, and how I agree with you. I think each one of us has a responsibility to reach out. I mean, neither one of my senators from my state were on the committee that was working on that, but I still called both of them because it was going to come to a floor vote at some point. I was hoping. Every call, every email makes a difference, and so it's incumbent on each of us, I think, to take those small steps that make a big voice together.
Absolutely.
But you're right. Unless you make an effort to be informed, you wouldn't know. Like you said, I didn't know about, or I wouldn't have known about this had I not been a member. So I think what I'm thinking now, based on what you've been saying, is not only should I join, but it's also one of my duties to kind of lean into that, all of the information that I get as a member of these organizations, and try to get something out of it.
I think that the more that you are willing to put into it, the more you will get out of it also. If you're looking for scholarship money, if you're looking for awards or grants, it's very simple. Many times they're looking to give money away, and then your only duties based on that are sometimes going to meetings, volunteering for things. And you always, at least for myself, I always feel like I am better off than not doing it. And it's helped me as a professional and as a leader, because now I can bring stronger information back to the people in my county. I can enrich my students and the staff that I work with. And I think it causes a greater impact for me positively.
It's true. And I think, at the root of it, it makes me, when I do something like that, it makes me proud of my job and my profession. And I get a little personal boost from that. Just that, I'm part of something important.
Right.
So I wanted to mention that the Idea Box show has moved to a new online home. If you go to www.ideaboxshow.com, you can see all of our episodes, and there are links so that you can use a podcast app to subscribe to us on iTunes and Stitcher and SoundCloud. And I've also put the RSS feed up so that you can use any podcast app that you like. We appreciate your support. One of the ways that you can continue to support us is by rating us on iTunes. So if you go to our website, ideaboxshow.com, and click on the iTunes link, there you can give us a rating, and a little iTunes love goes a very long way. So thanks for your support of the show. So back to Christina. There's something in the show notes that I've been really interested in, and that's the AASL toolkit.
Oh, great.
So tell us about that.
Oh, okay. I'm so excited that you mentioned this. If I could just go back and share the screen really quick. I didn't get to show this before. So as one of the emerging leaders, we had a project, and we were tasked with creating a chapter and updating a chapter in the toolkit for promotion. And the group that I worked with, we were 5 librarians from around the country. And what we mostly focused on is here, and we worked on our leadership and our advocacy. And you can see the completed toolkit. Instead of publishing this toolkit as a book form, we've taken the whole toolkit and we put it online. And all of the information that any school librarian could need for your promotion of your school library is all here in one place. One section that I'm really proud of that we worked on that will reference Mary is the videos. And this is where you will see several video interviews that we did with different school librarians around the country, and their feelings towards promoting their library programs and how they feel like they do that successfully. So I'm really happy with this toolkit, and what we're doing now is just kind of spreading the word and
so
getting
now
it out to everyone.
It's more interactive, right? Can you throw it back up really quickly?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Because I was looking at it, instead of just sort of being a downloadable PDF, now I can go like zoom to where I want to go, right?
Exactly. It's on the table of contents is here on the right side, so you can easily link to the parts that you need the most. And we really tried to think about our audience when we put this together, and we wanted to make sure that there was a section of just quick strategies, quick resources that they could grab really fast, because we know school librarians are very busy and they don't necessarily have lots of time to dig for things. So we tried to make this really accessible for a busy school librarian.
Look at that. Every chapter starts with practical suggestions. Love that.
That was intentional. So this was kind of a big project that we worked on in our emerging leader group, and I'm really proud of the way that it came out.
And this is live, right? On the website?
This is it's totally live, and I believe I linked to it in the show notes so that any of your viewers can grab that link and take a look at it.
Great. Well, on behalf of all of us, thank you.
Thank you.
It's an awful lot of work that you guys did. I wanted to say I have a thought on that whole process, and that is sometimes on a lot of the email listservs and things, you'll hear people emailing saying, my library program is in jeopardy. And the school board is thinking of cutting us. What can I do? And people will suggest that toolkit. But I really hope that people think of it before that moment arrives, because I think you can do a lot of advocating when times are good and show people the value of what you do. And then it may be the case that you're never up for consideration for being cut. You know, if you do a good job of sharing your story in the good times.
I agree, Mary. I think that school librarians are not always the best at promoting what they're doing, whether we feel shy or embarrassed to draw attention to all of our great work. I think we need to get over that and just really be the PR machine for ourselves, because there's nobody else that's going to do it unless we do it ourselves. And there are some great people to look at on Twitter. I'm kind of drawing a blank, but some of the people like Shannon Miller, there are certain people on Twitter that really are very good at promoting what they're doing, and they have a huge following. And I think we just need to be mindful of that and think about how we can do that in our own ways.
Yes, and that brings up, I had Andy Plemons on as a guest, and the idea that he was sharing was expanding your school library's web presence.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that he recommended was reading a book called Show Your Work by Austin Kleon. And it's not a library book, about libraries.
Mm-hmm.
It is a book on networking and building a group of people who are interested in what you do. And for lack of a better term, it's a very short read, but it's so inspirational. And Andy's exactly right. There are so many ways that applies to what we do in school libraries and how we should be sharing out what we do. So I know Andy recommended the book, and I got it and read it, and I think it's really apropos right here to throw out another just tidbit for people that Show Your Work by Austin Kleon would be a great thing to read this summer and go into the school year ready to blog and tweet and share about your program.
We really have to be a brand. When I think about all the work that we're doing, you want to market yourself as a library brand that is current and fun and cool and desirable. And we need to explore the best way to do that. There are some companies out there that brand products that are phenomenal, and we just need to kind of adapt, I think, some of our the way that our presence, so that we appear to be at the front of things.
Yeah, I totally agree. A couple times during this discussion, you have referred to the Emerging Leaders Program. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, sure. The Emerging Leaders Program is something that I actually didn't know about until I was nominated for it by a former NJZL president, a past president, Pam Gunther. And the way it works is when you become an emerging leader, you are able to attend two conferences, the ALA Midwinter Conference and also the ALA National Conference. And the way that I was able to do it is because my organization sponsored me. So they gave me a certain amount of money, and that paid for my room, my travel, and most of my expenses to these two conferences. At the first conference, you meet your emerging leader group. There are approximately 50 emerging leaders accepted each year. Roughly around one from each state. Most of them are sponsored, but some of them are just emerging leaders, and they're paying for it themselves out of their own pocket. When you become an emerging leader, it's ALA telling you that they have confidence in your future in the organization, and they sort of groom you to become a leader in some facet within ALA, whether it's in one of the divisions or on the ALA Council, but they expose you to many experiences that will allow you to become a leader maybe a little sooner than if you hadn't been in the program. Another part of the emerging leader group is you have to work on a project. So before we were assigned our projects, you get to vote. They have a list of about, I think there are 9 or 10 project groups, and you get to vote on your favorite project, and each project has a different task. So my project had to do with the AASL toolkit. There was a project for youth services. There was a project for academic librarians. They're very varied. So another thing that happens in the Emerging Leadership Program is they teach you about how to kind of let your guard down and not be afraid of networking with people, because for me, that's kind of been the best lesson that I've learned. when you are at these conferences, you have FaceTime with people that you might not ever get to meet again, and you want to make that FaceTime memorable and use it as a networking opportunity to hopefully lead to something else. So that's what it's really helped me to do, and I'm able to take those lessons back here to New Jersey and to my local group as well.
Yeah, you're right. It's so important to take advantage of those face-to-face opportunities and, speak up, and say hello to somebody, and sit down at a table of people that you don't necessarily know yet.
Right.
Everybody's there to meet new people. Well, the program sounds wonderful. Where can we find out information about the application process?
I'm sure, I don't have the exact link, but I'm sure it's on the ALA website. There's a section, I believe it's awards or scholarships. I'm sorry, I don't have the exact link right now, but
maybe we can put it in the show notes later.
Sure.
Okay.
Again, that would be for someone that is not sponsored. If you are looking to be sponsored, my advice would be to check out your local organization and to see what you can do to boost your chances of being sponsored, because that is certainly a great way to get into the program. The only other thing I should mention is emerging leaders are a profession that has only been in school library or in library for 5 years or less. So for myself, this was my 5th year working in a school library. So this was my final chance that I could do it. So it was perfect timing. But most of the people in emerging leaders are just that. They're emergent. They're new to the field. So some of them are right out of school or in their very first job. For me, I was in teaching for 11 years, and then I came into the library field, but this is still very new to me also.
Mm-hmm. Great. Well, yeah, that makes sense. Emerging leaders. So usually this is the point where we talk about advocacy for the first time in the show. We talk about how important it is to share out what we're doing, all the wonderful things that are happening in the school library. So how, besides coming and talking to me, how are you sharing this message of please get involved with the library community around you?
One thing that I'm hoping to do is to share this project about my emerging leader experience and the toolkit at the New Jersey Association of School Librarians Fall Conference, which is going to be in November. And I'm hoping that I can share that out with the people here in my local state. I'm also kind of playing around with an idea of writing an article for one of the publications. I just kind of started thinking about that. I love reading the journal LMC, Library Media Connection, and I'm kind of toying with that idea of how I can parlay this and into maybe more of a public forum like that.
I think that's a great idea. You'd reach a different, maybe a slightly different audience that way, which would be wonderful.
Right.
And past New Jersey.
Right.
So that wraps up our discussion of your idea, which is talking to all of us about getting involved at our state, in our state school library organizations, but also at the national level, and reminding us that the organizations are not monolithic. They will welcome us if we would like to get involved. So thanks for that.
You got it.
We're going to move into our next segment, which is shout outs. And I would like to shout out to my state organization. We are the Illinois School Library Media Association. And so the Twitter handle is ISLMA_org. And we've been tweeting on the hashtag ISLMA. And so that's a great way, even if you're not from Illinois, great way to get in touch with what's happening with school libraries in Illinois. And also, I just wanted to shout out to all the people who are on the Twitter list for this show. I've got a list of guests and friends of the Idea Box show. You can find it on my Twitter account at mmorganryan, or I've put the link directly to the list in the show notes. It's a great, if you want to subscribe to that list, it's a great way to be in touch with like-minded school librarians. So how about you, Christina? Who would you like to say hello to tonight?
I have a few people. One of them is my husband, Michael, who's downstairs trying to keep our dog very quiet while this is going on. He's just so supportive of all of this. I also wanted to just say hello, hopefully, to some of my and Jazel colleagues that might be listening, Arlen, Janet, Pam, and Elizabeth, and also my AASL project group, Holly, Melissa, Shannon, and Johanna, and we were led by Stephanie and Kathleen, two awesome leaders. And last but not least, we have some changes at my school. My principal is retiring, so I want to shout out Joanne. Our new principal is Devin, and my technology supervisor, Mike.
We can't live without our technology supervisors. So it's great. Wonderful. Well, thanks to Michael for keeping the dog quiet. That is wonderful. And we're going to move into our last segment. It's our catch-all news, tips, or what are you reading? I was on Twitter this week and ran across the hashtag Reading Summit Scholastic. I unfortunately have not heard of this conference before, but there was a conference in Baltimore, and I believe it was maybe sponsored by Scholastic, and all about reading. And I've put in the show notes a link that I thought people might be interested in. It is the link to the 5th edition of the Kids and Family Reading Report. It's also got the link that I'm sharing also has some really great infographics about reading aloud and what kids want in books. But I find that Kids and Family Reading Report, they do it every other year, perhaps. I used it in a grant proposal and was very successful with that grant proposal. There is some wonderful data in those Scholastic reports about what kids want to read, about the importance of choice in children's reading. And so anyone who's looking for research to back them up when they talk about free choice reading or when they talk about connecting kids with books, I really think this Scholastic report is very valuable. So I put the link in the show notes. Help yourself. How about you, Christina? Do you have anything to share with us?
I'm just so excited that I'm going to be reading the new Harper Lee novel, Go Set a Watchman, which was just released yesterday, July 14th. My cousin actually works for the publishing company, and she secured a copy for me, so I didn't have to go and sleep overnight at the bookstore, camped out, although I probably would have if I didn't have my own copy coming. But there's just lots of controversy swirling around this book, and I'm just really excited to read it for myself.
Absolutely, right. A small break from children's literature, right?
Yes.
It's wonderful. Well, it's time to close the book on this episode of the Idea Box Show. A big thanks to Christina, our guest for this week. Christina, where can people find you online?
Oh, I am on Twitter at LibraUno, LibraUno, and my email, I'm always accessible, ChristinaCucci2@gmail.com.
Wonderful. And you can find me on Twitter at @mmorganryan, and be sure to visit www.ideaboxshow.com to find all our episodes and the links to subscribe on iTunes and Stitcher and SoundCloud. Spread the word. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Mary.